Welcome to the Christian Life Coach Collective. I'm your host, Laura Malone, and you are in the right place if you want to make an impact in your life and the lives of the people around you. Maybe you even want to turn your gift of helping others into an income so you can support your family and your dreams and make a way for your calling. I'm here to guide you because you deserve to have encouragement and resources and somebody invested in you as you go invest yourself into everyone else. Let's dive into today's episode. I had a really great conversation with you this morning for 20 minutes. I was taking a walk. I had my AirPods in and record was pressed. And I walked for 20 minutes and I talked to you and it was heartfelt, deep, really, really good. And then I got home to find out that it had not recorded through my AirPods, but instead was going from my mouth to the phone, which was in the side pocket of my leggings that I was walking in. And so you could hear every swish of my leg because my phone was in the pocket on my leg, and it was so good. Here's the deal. Things happen. Do you ever just do something and you think, this was great, and then you realize that something technical happened that maybe was out of your control or maybe just not within your knowing? I think that it's just part of being an entrepreneur online, a business owner today. There are so many things in the tech space and technicality space that we don't always know what we don't know, and we don't always understand what we think we know. There's just so much to it. And I have clients and coaches, students who consistently tell me, I do not get the tech side of business. I have tried to simplify that by creating like tutorials in the Called to Coach course and showing step-by-step what to do. I have, even if you wanted to start a podcast, I have tutorials about it and inside of Called to Coach. And I also have like a page, it's like a document that tells you exactly what to do, exactly what to say, what to click, what to press as you set up your podcast host and all of these different things. Like I'm trying to think through all of the things that I have thrown my head up against the tech wall about, and I have figured it out. It's all figure outable. It really, really is. Everything that you need today is pretty much on YouTube, but if there's not, there's probably a podcast about it, and there's most assuredly some type of course that tells you how to get from point A to point B if you go looking for it. And I know one day I realized that as I was trying to teach myself how to play the keyboard, I had taught myself how to play the guitar. Then I taught myself how to play the keyboard. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, there's this thing people do on pianos. And it's in addition to playing chords. It's in addition to inversions. It's in addition to all of these other things I had taught myself how to do because I knew to look up certain words on YouTube or online somehow and find out how. But there was something I didn't know how to explain that I knew I wasn't doing, and I knew that I needed to develop this skill, but I didn't know what the skill was called. I didn't know how to define it. The best thing I could call it was like a run, going from note to note and flowing through chords. I just didn't know how to move my fingers fluidly up and down the keys in the same way that I knew how to move up and down in chords on a guitar. And there's a difference between strumming and finger picking. And I knew like strumming patterns, that's what it was, what a strumming pattern is to a guitar. I didn't know what you called that in relation to a piano or keyboard. So until I found somebody and watched them do it and said, what do you call that when you do this? When you're doing this right here that you're doing, what is this called? How do I learn it? How do I go online and search for it? And the same thing, it's this concept that I have realized applies to business and tech and all of the things that if you're great at one thing, like coaching, or you're great at creating art, but you're not super skilled in how to start or run or grow a business and all of the technical things and the online things, the things you have to do with a computer or a device of some kind, all of the platforms, all of the software, there's a measure of all of that if you, especially if you're in a generation that didn't grow up with all that tech from childhood, there's so much of it that you don't know what that's called and you don't know how to piece it together. You don't know what you don't know. I want to give you permission to not know what you don't know. It is okay that you don't know that. And as you are growing and going, I want you to give yourself grace. I encourage you to give the you that's becoming this other person as a business owner, an entrepreneur, a content creator, a digital anybody, like as you're in process to becoming that person, give that person grace. Give the journey and the process. And just be willing to experiment and try. Be willing to show up and try. That's all you got to do. And that is literally how I got this far. It's actually going to be how I get through the next year, 5 years, 10 years, is by showing up and trying, experimenting, doing a lot of researching, asking questions. Get into Facebook groups. Get into chats with other people who are doing the things that you're doing. And go ask them the questions. Find a course. Find somebody who offers support of some kind in the area that you want to grow in. And then don't be afraid to ask questions. There's a really good chance the people in that course and that group are not your ideal client or your ideal customer or whatever you're doing. And gosh, even if they are, show them what it looks like to go ask for help. The longer you think to yourself, I don't know how, and I can't figure out how, the longer you're going to hold yourself back. You're going to keep yourself from showing the world what is possible, what you offer, who you are, how you can serve, how you can help them. Whatever it is that you create, whatever your message is, however you want to share what's in your heart and what the calling on your life. Go find people who can help you. You may never meet them again. You may never cross paths. You may never sell anything or buy anything from them. And all of that's okay. You just need to know every question is answerable. Every problem is solutionable. I promise. I literally have not found one thing that there's no answer to. And I will say that most of the answers to your questions are free in some format. Now, you might not be able to find all of your questions answered in like a sequential order for free. That's what courses do, right? They teach you how to go from point A to point B, and they tell you what you don't know, and they answer the questions that you knew to ask and the ones you didn't know to ask. And that's the goal of somebody who gives you an online course or you go take a live workshop or any of those things. They're supposed to be showing up to give you what you need from point A to get to point B. But all of those one-off questions like, how do I create a logo? Well, oh, that's out there. Do it. And honestly, you can create some logos for free in some pretty awesome places. How do I set up this platform to connect to that platform? How does I get this software to talk to that software? Well, there's a lot of options out there depending on what we're talking about. But all you have to do is literally type in your search bar, how do I get my email service provider to talk to my sales cart? How do I get them to connect? And then you will find multiple options. Yes, you'll have to do a little research to find out which option is best for you. I personally use Zapier, Zapier, and it connects different platforms that don't have native integrations, right? So my sales cart is connected. When something happens in there, somebody buys a course, then it goes over to Zapier, and Zapier tells my Flowdesk, my email service provider, so that those people get grouped into a specific segment, and then they start getting emails based on the course that they bought, which I wrote once. I set it up, and now it's automated. So if you jump into the greenhouse course, but you want to get trained and certified as a coach with me, well, then the next thing happens is the sales cart, when you purchase that course, it sends it through Zapier over to Flowdesk, and then Flowdesk puts you in a segment called TGC for the greenhouse course, and then you start getting emails based on the content and the drip of the course. There are things like that if you've never been in online business, today's world, you would not know that's possible, and you probably wouldn't know it's even necessary. So you don't know what you don't know. I want you to expand your mind, open your eyes to be growth-minded, and just hold your hands a little bit more open and trust that, yes, all things are possible. All things are figure-outable. We can grow and learn together. You can jump in the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group. If you're a student in any of the courses or a client, you can get into the Sterling and Stone student Facebook group. You can go ask anybody questions. I will answer all of your questions in there. And whatever you're lacking, just know that there really isn't a stupid question if you don't perceive it to be stupid. If you've decided that it's stupid for you to ask, that is just your opinion. I'm not ever going to think your question is stupid because I've asked all those questions and lots of other people ask that question. So I want you to have permission to ask that question, whether it's to me or other people in courses and, clients and people working in Sterling and Stone, or if it's somewhere else. If you're creating art and you want to know how do I share my art, then go get in some Facebook groups and chat online where other artists are and find out what they're doing. Go do some searching. It's worth your investment because if you act like you just can't know and you're afraid of the tech wall and you're afraid of the digital world and you're afraid of online business, you will limit yourself. And I don't want you to be limited. I want you to really believe it's all possible. So that's what I've had to do over all of these years. When we started our nonprofit, there wasn't this big online world. So we didn't have this big Facebook page with tens of thousands of followers yet. We didn't have Instagram to tell everybody what we were doing. We didn't have Zapier or Bitly or Linktree or all of these things. They weren't around. We had to get in front of living, breathing people and tell them what we were doing and cast vision for doing crisis response around the world to bring the kingdom of heaven in the midst of the harvest of crisis. Like, we had to go tell living, breathing people that that's what we were doing and invite them to come on the journey. And then we had to figure out, how do we do bookkeeping? How do we do all of the things? How do we receive donations? How do we send money to people in other countries? Like, there was so much, but we figured it out and we had nobody. We had to pioneer it. There was no online course of how to set up and run a nonprofit. But likewise, years later, when I started a for-profit business to help supplement our not profiting the nonprofit side of our life, the for-profit side is still my ministry. It's just in the extension of over here, it's a different avenue. There's another arm, and it's very nonprofit minded. But I had to figure out how to do all of these new things that were now available that we never started out with when we started our ministry in 2002. Sorry, 2007. We got married in 2002. I guess our anniversary is coming up. So maybe that's on my mind. I'm not sure. 2007 is when we started Crisis Response International. And yeah, I think it was past MySpace. We never had a MySpace. But still a challenging time. And we moved a lot. So we just got up and went because God said. And it was just a little harder back then to do certain things. But I will say, tech, as easy as it has made the world in some areas, there are definitely some downsides to it, right? And I understand if you are of the mind to stay out as much as you can from tech and social media and online everything. And I understand that and I get it. I will say that you do limit your reach to just the people that you can find and talk to who are living, breathing people right in front of you. And if you don't leave home very often or you're not, involved in the PTA, you're not out there actually talking to people all of the time, then you limit your reach and access to be able to help and serve more people, not just across the country, but like around the world. That's what an online business can do for you. So if you want to grow that, then I would really encourage you to get brave and do your research and give yourself permission and believe that it is something you can figure out. If you don't know how to figure it out, put it in the Facebook group. Seriously, just get in the Christian Life Coach Collective Facebook group and say, I don't know how to find this. What do you guys do about X, Y, and Z? What do I not know about A, B, and C? I need help knowing who to trust or what to do. And then sometimes you just need to outsource. Fiverr is really awesome. Five, like the number 5, but with 2 R's at the end. Fiverr with double R's.com. That's, people who will do things at very low cost for you so that you don't have to do it. It's like having a virtual assistant or an intern doing something for you at low cost that you can do all kinds of things and have people make you a logo or set up a process for you or create a SOP, standard operating procedure, for something that they understand you need but you don't get yet. That's a really great opportunity. But also just reach out to people you know. If you have a Facebook group or a social media account, or even just email your friends and family or send them a text and say, I'm trying to figure this out. Who can help me do this? Sometimes I have to look at my teenage kids and say, do you know how to do this? Because I don't want to research. You are my researcher. Tell me how to do this. Because they do know, or if they don't know, sometimes they can just figure out faster than I can because they know where to go. And I guess this whole episode is really just my heart to open your mind to being growth-minded and say, if you are struggling to take action because you're overthinking or you're afraid or you're in unbelief about your ability to figure things out on the tech side, the online business side of things, I want to tell you it's possible. I have modeled it. I have done it all. I'm still learning, but I can't keep going. I can't keep growing if I stop asking questions. I have learned the art of asking great questions, asking the right questions, and then defining and clarifying even further to get more detailed answers, whether it's from people or it's online. All right, go out there and tackle those things that you feel afraid of. It is just your brain holding you back and telling you, stay comfy, keep life easy, make sure we're safe here. It is the brain's Bermuda Triangle, and you get lost in it, but you don't have to believe that anymore, and you don't have to accept those thoughts. You can do this. There are people who will do it with you. And obviously, like, that's my favorite thing to do, is come up with ideas and possibilities. And that's actually what my episode this morning was about when I was walking and talking to you. It was actually about the fact that I had too many possibilities and too many options and how that works against me. So I guess that'll be the next episode. So I'm going to have to go back and think about, what did I say off the cuff that was so, like, really powerful to me, but obviously my spirit needed to hear it because I was the only one that got it. Because except for the people who, like, walk past me with their dogs and their babies in strollers, like, they got little tidbits of what I was saying when I thought I was recording. All right, friend, remember, all things are possible. It's all figure-outable. I'm here for you. If you need anything, check the show notes for courses and coaching opportunities so you can work with me. Love you. Remember, you're 100% worthy, capable of doing this, and I'll talk to you next time. If you'd like to work with me and get coaching, become a coach, or start a coaching business, check out all the courses and coaching I offer at sterlingandstonementoring.com. Or you can scroll through the show notes to find all the links that you need. I pray that your day will be full of joy, hope, transformation, and the presence of God.